Hi, this is ZvT on Destination. It's against the Mech build, which a lot of people have been asking me to cover. Kind of like they've been wondering what to do against Mech and so on. One thing is that if you know how to play PvT, then you already are far better off how to play against Mech. Like against Mech, the thing is that first off, you gotta survive the early game rush. You gotta read your opponent and or do all-around build order that will allow you to survive. But like the very first stage is reading your opponent and what he might be doing and so on. And there are a lot of factors that do that. And if you don't really like, the thing is, if you lose a lot of drones or economy or whatever in beginning early game, then you will have no way of stopping him when he pushes out later on. This is on Destination, and as long as I set my 9th drone to scout, I can pretty much do a fast expansion, 12 hatchery fast expansion. The reason why I sent my 9th drone especially to scout, in fact, on Destination, Mech is perhaps the most popular ZvT build, TVZ build there is, and in my opinion you should always send, or almost always, unless you're doing pool first, send your first drone to like 9th drone to scout on a map where you expect there to be a rather high possibility of him doing a mech. Like for example right over here on Destination, I want to send my 9th drone to scout so that I am able to get one drone inside and figure out better on what he might be doing. For example right over here, this already tells me that it's probably going to be Mech, seeing how he started his refinery even before his barracks was finished. The only other possibility of it not being some variation of Mech or something along the lines would be if he's like, well, I don't know if we consider it 2-port Wraith Mech, but you get the gist of it. Like that was a very bad mistake of me to lose my drone over here. Of course, I should have kept the drone alive far longer. It was actually really necessary for me to do that. No way, like I could have figured out if he did a proxy factory, like if I kept it alive, I could have figured out like his overall factory timing when he starts his factory, so I know better when to sunken up, all as well as like if he does a proxy factory, can I expect him to have a factory somewhere else, for example in my main, lift off into my main or whatever, and so on. Notice how I know that he's gonna do Mech, and against Mech you always want to have a faster tech. It makes things so much easier to defend against and much less risky if you have your tech ready for like before it's even necessary. Against the bunker rush, since this also covers that, he probably did a Atrax or so. In any case, against the bunker rush, you should remember you should start your first sunken colony out of the bunker range as fast as possible, and secondly, besides that, you should also save up your Zerglings a bit, and once you have enough Zerglings when your sunken colony is morphed, you just attack and finish it off. I also sent my Overlord like near his ramp to scout. This is simply so that I can figure out better on when he might be moving out and what he might have in general. My Overlord should be a bit closer, to be honest, but it doesn't make such a big difference since I bring my links over pretty quickly afterwards. And since he has a vulture over here, it means that he does not have a proxy factory or something. So I can manage with that. I'm kind of leaving my Zerglings over here, not only to prevent him from scouting, but also to kind of like preventing him from lifting off. Like if he lifts off, it means that I can run inside his base and figure out what he's doing. And he did just that mistake, lifting off and letting me do this. Of course, it's not completely useless for him either, since now I won't have Zerglings to block his vulture like around my base like I would have had if I hadn't done that. But it was worth it, seeing that now I can figure out what he's doing. Like, you gotta be able to know how to react and what to do against whatever your opponent is doing. Like over here, I noticed that he had 2 factories and a machine shop. That pretty much means that he's gonna go and try and do some sort of vulture run by with speed or mines or both. Basically, the idea is that he makes 4 to 6, maybe 7 or 8 vultures and tries to run by to my main with those vultures. And since drones and links cannot really counter those vultures, then I'm pretty much helpless if it works out perfectly for him. Also, that build order allows him to have quite a few Goliaths before I get my Mutas out. I started my hydraulics then a bit beforehand. Like, I guess Mech, it's always good to have 4 hydras or so beforehand. These hydras allow you to counter many things. It allows you to counter quick wraith, supposing that he does quick wraith. It allows you to block his vultures from running by just like this, and it also allows you to kind of like stop a lot of harasses, which would be very hard to stop otherwise. Of course, hydras are not just gonna cut it in the end so well, so I decided to start a spire as well. A spire is very necessary against the Terran. I try to bring I bring some hydras out, also bringing my overlords out before he has spider mines. The idea is that I bring these hydras here and I clear out as many vultures as possible from the map, so he loses his map control as early as possible. I also started my second sunken colony. I kinda overreacted with that since I made those 4 hydras. But I figured out that it would be better being safe than sorry. Basically, those two sunken colonies are quite necessary if he tries to do a very aggressive sort of vulture rush. Now, also, when you're playing a bit against Mech, you want to be a bit unpredictable, and usually against Mech, you don't really see some sort of fast hydra rush. Right now, I wasn't really that wasn't like very well done by me on trying to be unpredictable. Like, I'm showing way too many hydras to him. If I wanted to be unpredictable, I wouldn't show these hydras, and then he wouldn't be able to react when my hydra push comes. But it works out either way. I also have a rather low economy, but that isn't really that big of a problem as long as I do something with this stuff. And secondly, like with these hydras, as long as I don't waste them, I'm still gonna be safe from his early push, and I'm also able to deal a bit of early game pressure over here. Although until I have range, I'm kind of helpless against this stuff. In any case, I got a drone up pretty soon over here. I can't wait like long at all. I'm also starting to make mutas, since like Terran is kind of like the oh crap race, and they kind of react on the last second, and depending on what the Zerg has. So if you make more hydras, he makes more tanks. If I make more mutas, he's gonna make more Goliaths. And in that sense, you gotta think on what he has and be unpredictable in terms of that, on what he has. Like you really gotta trick him to think that if, for example, you have very many hydras. Like right now, I'm tricking him to thinking that I actually have quite a few hydras over here. I'm pumping hydras, and I'm gonna attack him with hydras, and he's probably gonna make tanks from over there to stop these hydras from coming. But instead, I just come with mutas, and this is what you gotta do. Another thing that you gotta remember when fighting Mech is that like you gotta be prepared when his push comes, and you gotta be able to stop it as well. Over here, this is kind of unfavorable for me. I wasted quite a few mutas here. I should have well, I should have taken it a bit safer over there, but it couldn't be helped. Excuse me. Right now I'm just pumping metas. Also remember that middle-east carapace is really necessary when it comes to ZvT against Mech. And remember also to expand a lot and so on. Also I started my third hatchery to my expansion right away. I have such a low economy that I keep making mutas. If I wanted to keep massing hydras, then I would need my third hatchery at my main, but I keep making mutas, so I need a lot of gas, and that's why I started my third hatchery over there, though my fourth hatchery is gonna be inside my base. So I gathered up a few mutas. I start my carapace now that I have the money for it. Basically I'm now just looking for whatever opportunities I might have for some harassment. I can't waste too many, but don't be intimidated even though he has Goliath range. Like, that's more something to trick your opponent or so. So now I'm just circling